What is up, everybody? Welcome back to League Unlock. My name is Eric. Thanks for hanging out with us as we look to week 3 of the LCS. And of course, we got to talk a little bit of fantasy. Week 2, we missed. We didn't do a DraftKings preview show. And week 1 went horribly for us because we went all in on 100 Thieves. I know. What a terrible mistake, and I will never make the same mistake again. Don't believe in 100 Thieves. Even if they win 8 games in a row to close out the regular season, I won't believe. I won't believe in them. I'm officially done with them for 2019. There's just, stay away from them. But we'll go through all the other positions, and that is, if there's one thing to take away from this video and this episode, don't pick up 100 Thieves this weekend. That's the ultimate reverse jinx, which means Nate Shot, you owe us. You're probably going to go 2-0 this weekend. But let's look at top laners where it's pretty expected what the kind of salaries you're looking at here. Broken Blade going to be your most expensive against Huni, which, you know, if you were talking about that in 2018, you'd be completely shocked. This no-name guy from the TCL is the most expensive against Huni, but yeah, going back to spring, he was much better than him. Impact is expensive against Viper. I'm not sure that's worth it. Seems a little bit disrespectful. I know FlyQuest are 1-3 right now. By the way, their insane schedule continues. 4 out of their 5 first games were against the top 4 teams from the spring split. So this is absolutely nutty. Expect a lot more wins coming their way. But, I mean, Liquid hasn't looked that great. I wouldn't be shocked if FlyQuest come away with the win there. I talked about going against or not going with 100 Thieves, so go against them. Pick a lot of Guardians this weekend. There's still a lot of roster kerfuffle in the air for 100 Thieves. You've seen Bang and now Afromu both playing in Academy, even some days playing a game in the Academy League. So 100 Thieves clearly trying to tinker with their roster and figure something out. Even though it's only week 3, they don't have much time left because, believe it or not, you get 0 points towards Worlds when you finish in dead last. So maybe go with some Guardians. Except for junglers, I don't think Contracts is ever someone you want to be picking up because he just gets too many deaths. I'm too scared he's going to have one of those 0-10 games, or, well, not 0-10, that's a little dramatic, but he does have a lot of deaths. He's always near the top of the LCS, so he's maybe the one Guardian you stay away from this weekend. Meteos gets absolutely no respect against his former team in Cloud9. He's slowly getting a lot of revenge games added up throughout his career, but that might be worth it for me, to be honest, in that matchup. You've also got Xmithy there, right, as the most expensive against FlyQuest. I feel like Santorin could maybe get a little bit more respect from there. Again, if you want to save some money and maybe go with an upset, FlyQuest versus TL wouldn't be that insane because, again, Liquid has definitely looked very vulnerable here to start the summer split. Wiggly versus Rush in that matchup. CLG, I mean, they can completely change from any game to game. It's basically a toss-up. So which game do they show up? It's a pretty big risk. Is it going to be Echo Fox or their second match of the weekend? Might be a safer bet to go with the Echo Fox upset. Mid laners, always a safe bet. I mean, it's going to be the same trio of guys that, regardless of matchup, you could probably feel somewhat okay, and that's Jensen, Bjergsen, and Froggen. Even Niski's a guy you could maybe talk about. Yasui versus the Guardians, or Yasui in that matchup. I'm not 100% sold on it, mainly because Phoenix might be playing. Echo Fox is another somewhat questionable who's actually going to be starting there. Crown versus C9. OpTic in general is pretty heavily disrespected, I feel like. I know they haven't played any of the top 3 squads, but this team hasn't lost yet, and they've won in pretty convincing fashion in 3 out of those 4 games. So I feel like the salary should be a little bit closer to that of the C9 members. And if you're going to pick anyone from OpTic, it's definitely going to be Crown Player of the Week in Week 2. Probably could have got it in Week 1 as well. The AD carries, the main question week to week is Doublelift worth however expensive he's going to be coming into this week? Going up against FlyQuest, I'm not entirely sure, so I might stay away from that one. Sven versus Clutch, an entirely new roster. There's still the belief that Clutch has his number. I don't believe it whatsoever. Pretty safe bet, I would say, if you want to spend the money on Sven. If you want to go crazy and make him your captain, is there going to be a lot of kills in that matchup? There probably will be, because you never know what you're going to get with Hooney and the boys on Clutch. And I don't think TSM is afraid to fight in these matchups. By the way, Acadian or Grig, not entirely sure. I would stay away from that one, although Grig is $200 cheaper. But Sven is definitely a safe bet if you're picking for TSM. I'd steer clear of the junglers. It has been Acadian. Acadian's lost both, and Grig has won both. So I'd be going with Grig more often than not if you were on that TSM organization. They just look more in sync whenever Grig is in that lineup. Let's go to supports. The money savers. This is where you either pick them first or pick them last. Go for your cheapest option. And this one, your cheapest is big against Cloud9. You could do that. That's going to save you huge money. You could have an insane captain and one of the most expensive ADs or mids probably if you go that route and feel like maybe OpTic can take down Cloud9. Ole versus 100 Thieves, that's not bad. Smoothie versus Clutch. There's a lot of good options, but if you're going ultimate money savers, then it's probably one of those bottom two, JJ or Big, because I don't think either of those upsets are that out of the ordinary, or like there's a good chance that either of those, maybe even both of those upsets could come through. So JJ or Big both seem like they could be some interesting picks to go with. And speaking of picks, let's look at ours for the weekend, starting with those LCS ones. And I talked about OpTic being heavily favored, or not favored, heavy underdogs against Cloud9. I feel like Meteos and Crown are the two safest guys to pick on that roster. Meteos has quietly been one of the best junglers in North America through the first couple of weeks, and Crown, after 2 weeks, is the MVP of the league. I would say TSM, when it comes to picking teams, I feel like you got to pick the safest bet to get a win, and I feel like TSM are the biggest favorites of day one, at least against Clutch. They should get that done. So bring in Bjergsen and Broken Blade as well. And then the bottom lane, I like to stick them together. Stixxay and Biofrost have looked better here in the summer split. Think they get it done against Echo Fox. That's the game where CLG looks great and they can get a lot of points. For bonus picks this weekend, we got some LPL and LCK action. This was a tough one to put together because pretty much every matchup, save for that SKT Sandbox one, is going to be a heavy favorite, especially EDG. We got Scout in the mid lane. Main reason is, of course, Rookie will not be playing. It's going to be Forge in there. So EDG immediately becomes big favorites in that matchup. Even though Baolon will be returning to the lineup, you like Scout and EDG in that one. All in on RNG against Vici. RNG have looked incredible. Get as many players of theirs as you can because it's the LPL. There'll be lots of kills, and RNG will be beating up on Vici. Then you saw Rascal in that top lane against Afrika. Kingzone have been the best team in the LCK and save some money on Joker against SKT. I wouldn't be shocked if Sandbox take them down yet again. That's it today for League Unlocked. My name is Eric. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys, on League Unlocked. We'll see you on the flippity flop.